Holy smokes, guys. Have you seen this new 4K satellite imagery in the Smart Fishing Spots app? It is next level. It makes Google satellite maps look like a complete joke. I can't even use them anymore after seeing this. It's probably why some of these companies are charging hundreds, if not thousands of dollars to get this same access to be able to see your fishing spots in this 4K level. It lets you see all kinds of new hidden areas, new potholes, new seagrass, new oyster bars, stuff that you would never ever see on a normal Google satellite map. The best news is with us, it's completely complimentary. It's completely free for our members. So if you're a current Insider member, go check this out. It's in the toggle area where you'll now be able to see a little place where you can see obviously oyster bars, seagrass, you've got Bing, Google, and now you've got this 4K imagery. And if you're not a member, what the heck are you waiting on? Someone to grab you by the hand and show you exactly where to find new fishing spots every single week, because that's what we do. Come and join us. It's saltstrong.com and the Insider Club. 35,000 plus members and new ones joining every single hour. See you inside.
Welcome to the Salt Strong Podcast, disrupting fishing entertainment as you know it. Prepare to laugh. Prepare to get to know fishing legends in a whole new and unfiltered way. And on occasion, you might even learn a thing or two about fishing. Here's your host, Joe Simons. Like diamonds.
Hello, Salt Strong Nation. Joe Simons, like diamonds. We are back. Got some really, really exciting news. It's Luke and I here today. I'm in the house studio. We've got no AC in the office. We're in the position or a transition of moving offices here before too long. Hopefully you guys saw some of the exciting news that we have purchased our first property. It is on the water, very fitting for our brand. Now we'll be able to go out and actually test stuff. You'll be able to come to our tackle store. I have a physical brick and mortar tackle store there as well, about 1.7 acres, and it's all on the water. Really, really neat. Pumped for you to see. Even has a little boat ramp there. So there's all kinds of things that we can do. But right now, our old office has no AC. So I am here at home in at least the nice AC. And we're here to talk about a brand new lure. But first, no, put it down. Luke tried to show it there. Go. But first, let's talk about the backstory. As you know, here at Salt Strong, we have quite a few lures ourselves. We like to promote other lures. We test everything out ourselves. We love doing the whole R&D. That's research and development for the layperson. We love trying to test and tinker behind the scenes. And there's one idea we've been tinkering with forever, and it all started with a different sport. What sport was that, Luke?
It was a sport that many of us love and sometimes get very frustrated with me personally, but golf.
Yes.
Golf is the sport.
And the golf ball in particular is one of the most recognizable, instruments, if you will, in terms of a sport, right? It's something unlike, our NFL football is not played worldwide. But golf and even a soccer ball, those two would be up there. It's something that pretty much most people in the world instantly recognize. Now, there was one thing in particular over the past few hundred years that literally changed golf forever when it comes to the golf ball. Can you guess what it is? Luke, rhetorical question.
Yeah, it has something to do with the skin of the ball.
We're not talking about pimples. We're talking about dimples.
There's a lot of science involved. It's shocking how much science is involved with that, too. Like, I didn't realize the impact of dimples to a golf ball. It was mind-blowing.
So the history behind this, and there's quite a few videos online about it, but the history was the original golfers there in Scotland. They realized that the longer they used the ball, the further it started going, right? And so they're like, that doesn't make any sense. Why is that happening? It's because this is pre-dimple. These are just 100% round balls. It's because over time they'd hit trees, right? And obviously the club would even start slowly moving and kind of changing the aerodynamics of the ball, and it basically started taking off some of that drag, essentially is what it is. It's taking away some of the aerodynamic drag, and it started going further. And so that was the catalyst to say, hey, let's put a bunch of little scuffs, right? They were basically getting scuffed up. let's put a bunch of scuffs, and it's now evolved over literally hundreds of years into now a golf ball with tons and tons of perfectly defined dimples. And from all the studies that they do, even with who's the head of golf? I'm completely blanking right now.
Head of golf? I don't know what you're talking about.
Like USP, USG,
the golf people,
UGA, whatever it is. This is how much we know about golf. But they have obviously facilities where they study this stuff, and they say the dimples versus the exact same ball without dimples go almost twice as far. So if you could drive this ball, right, 300 yards, you could only do about half if you did not have dimples. And that is from the USPGA. Sounds right. Someone please correct us on that. Once again, that's why Luke and I are so frustrated with golf, because we're horrible at it. Can't even pronounce things. But that's wild, right? So if you're wondering why they keep talking about golf here, well, here's the deal. We said, what if we, Salt Strong, could come up with a lure, and started with our paddletail lure that actually had dimples just like a golf ball. One, to be able to cast further, right? The further you can cast, the further you can, be away from the fish, the better your chances, and also skip better as well. It should make sense that having little dimples like this would enable you to do both. And so we've been testing this. We have spent many tens of thousands of dollars now, I believe, getting these molds done and just testing. And we finally have not only a prototype, but we are now in the full production of doing these molds. Look at that. You can see the dimples on there. One, it does cast further. This is a 4-inch, and we're going to have a 3-inch, and wait till you hear the name here in just a second.
Here's a 3-incher.
Oh, that thing is going to be awesome. This one, it will cast a mile. It does skip amazingly well. But the kind of the hidden benefit when we started using it, and we've teased it in a few on the water reports where we say, hey, we're using a new lure and we're catching fish, and we didn't say what it was. It was this lure here. But underwater, those little dimples in there, Luke, pull that up again. They look just like little scales. Like it is. This looks amazing underwater. So this thing has been absolutely crushing. It's got the 2 eyes on there as well. A really amazing paddle on the drop. This thing has just some amazing action. And so we started thinking about a name for it, right, Luke? And we had a couple random ones. And what is one of the best things in golf? Like, besides maybe having a cold beer, but what is something that, like, man, can I take a...
Yeah, if you have a bad shot and you need a mulligan.
Yeah, right? Can I get a mulligan?
One extra go at it.
It's an extra shot. It's a free shot. Right. And so as soon as it hit, we're like, all right, that's it. Like, because now you're giving an extra shot at the fish, right? You're over a given day. Luke, do the math. Remember, we talked about that in the casting. I mean, if you can get an extra 10 feet per, even a few feet per cast, and you're making 100+ casts in a given day, I mean, you start talking about football fields of extra distance. That's a lot of mulligans. We should have called it mulligans plural. But so the name is called Mulligan for obvious reasons. It has these dimples. We're going to have it in a lot of different colors. Probably start with Slam Shady, right? Is the thing that's being produced right now.
Yeah, that's what I've been using so far, and it's been awesome. So far, every time I've taken it with somebody else, I've caught more, and they want to get some free prototypes. And so it is definitely the farthest casting 4-inch paddle tail that I've ever used. And just like all of our lures, all of our salt plastics, we design them so that the point on the head is thin enough, it's small enough to rig properly on a weighted hook where it's nice and aerodynamic from the water, but it's also fat enough to be rigged on a jig head as well. That's a lot of beef I have with a lot of soft plastics, is that they have the big sharp edge, the big flat face, I should say, and you really can only use a jig head on it, which is great for deeper water. But for shallower water, it's no good at all. And so that's why I think this is the ultimate paddle tail, because it casts further. You can rig it on a weighted hook, and it's amazing. You can rig it on a jig head, and it works great as well. It's just a full package. Whereas, again, a lot of the other ones, it's a deeper situation only type deal. So
it's got the hook slit in the bottom too.
What's up?
Got the little slit in the bottom.
Yeah, so there's a slit on the bottom too. That helps. That basically helps just your hookup ratio be better when you're using a weighted hook, like so. And this Haas Helix hook, this is the 3/0 Haas Helix hook, is the perfect size for this lure as well. So we have, this is like, this combination right here is the ultimate. I can go ahead and rig it up real quick. But yeah, as I mentioned before, like this has been extremely good. It's basically image. If you're using our bombers yet, our bombers are great because they can cast a mile. It's a big 5-inch paddle tail, so it doesn't really work all seasons. Whereas this casts about as far. It's very close, but it has it's an inch less. It's an inch shorter, so that it has more longevity as far as seasons. It can pretty much be an all season lure. So yeah, there would be how it looks on the weighted hook.
It looks dirty.
Yeah, plenty of gap right there. I should actually poke it all the way through, but.
And then the 3-inch is going to be huge because there's just not that many 3-inchers, and especially when fish are feeding on smaller bait, this 3-inch is going to absolutely crush it, and it'll certainly outcast any other 3-inch paddle tails that are out there in the market, at least the ones we've used. I think you're going to absolutely love it. And what are we talking about? Calling the 3-inch like a par 3 mulligan?
Yeah, people think it's funny. Yeah, I think we have a par 3 and par 4, and eventually have a par 5 for the big the big one. But yeah, I mean, so far it's been awesome. It's been similar to the power prawn, where I just saw immediate results as soon as I took it out.
Wasn't the mulligan the one that you caught like a keeper snapper like the first time ever on your dock?
That was power prawn.
Oh, it was power. Okay.
Yeah, the power prawn was the literally, I was like, put it on off the seawall, like putting it down with like 4 feet of line out, and a snook hit the junior, and then a snapper hit the other one too. It was crazy.
I love it.
But yeah, so this, my favorite for power fishing up in shallow water, is this right here, where the 4-inch mulligan, same shady color on the 3/0 Haas Helix hook. This is extremely good for fishing shallow, especially for fishing heavy grass or oysters. You can dig that hook into the top. You can basically skin hook it. Now it's super weedless, but as soon as that fish strikes, it's going to pop it out, and you have a really good hook set given how wide the gap is. This is a wide gap 3/0 hook here, and the hookup ratio is awesome while it's also weedless. So this, again, like the perfect blend of being weedless and also having a good hook set.
Yeah, and as we said, it skips well as well.
100%.
As well. Yeah, so really pumped about this mulligan, and we realized that we hadn't talked about it yet. We've been working on this thing forever, and of course the team knows about it. We've been going through different prototypes. So if you don't know much about how soft plastics are made, especially when they started getting into like real production numbers, not just doing like what is it called, single pours by yourself. It's a long process. Starts off with 3D printers, and then they send us that. So we get the 3D printer version, and then what is that, Luke? That's the first like single mold.
Yeah, this is a single mold. And so I have 2 of them. I was actually pouring some earlier today. So I have one is the 3-inch, one's the 4-inch. They actually have some stuff in there, so we can kind of show behind the scenes how it all works too. But yeah, it's just basically just heat up the plastisol, inject it into the mold. In this case, it's a single, right? You can see the hole right there. You can see the material still in there, and then give it a couple minutes to dry, and then pop it out. But those machines, they're doing like 30 to 50 at a time, depending on the size of the lure. And they have, they actually can cool it down. They're not waiting 2 minutes to pull it out. Yeah. It's amazing. Like these high capacity machines is literally amazing how efficient they are in producing lures. Really
so
cool.
we get these individually, and they already put some in there for us every time that when we get around and we go fishing, we test them, put them underwater, look at them underwater, videotape them underwater. We do all this every time, every iteration, and say, all right, let's make this little change. And at the end, we'll say, all right, let's put Salt Strong on the top. I don't know if you could show that as well. Pretty cool. And we'll probably have some rigging videos. The goal is to be able to have different size hooks come out of the top, right? I don't know if we've mastered that yet in terms of where the Salt Strong is.
Oh yeah,
but it is right there on the top. That way, hey, it needs to go through the G, the circle in the G of strong. If you're using this size hook to have a perfect hook, a perfect rig.
Yeah, so we'll have the specs. So the Salt Strong on the manual injection, the letters don't come out very well. because it doesn't have a machine. Like that machine compresses it, gets to the perfect temperature, and it puts the exact perfect amount of pressure to fully adhere to every small detail of the mold. So on mine, you can't really see the salt strong. There's a salt strong on the top, and yeah, we'll give directions. So hey, rig it on 3/0 hook, get the twist. This has a twist lock on it. Get it all the way to the top, and then when you go through down here, it should go through the O or the N, one of the two. I can't. It's kind of hard to see on mine. But yeah, so it's again, doing the official machine is next level. So I've just been using my own hand poured, and it's still working amazing. And so when it comes to the big machine, it's going to be even better. So in case you're curious to see how this stuff looks, like here's one I injected. I haven't pulled it out yet, just so you can see what it looks like. This poppy pops open, and there it is. So you can see all the material goes through. In this case, it's the small one. So there's just a big part of the top that kind of I'll just remelt for a different one. Pop that puppy off, and now you have yourselves another 3-incher ready to rock.
That's awesome.
And then the same thing over here, right? We got the 4-incher. Pretty cool. Just cool to see how it all works. It's been fun learning how to do it. It's been kind of a fun journey. Pop that thing off, good to go. You have a makeshift supposed to hang them and keep them straight. So I use my tennis racket and kind of wedge the material in there.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. So part of it. So it's definitely it takes a while. It's kind of a pain to do, but it's been fun to experiment and test different colors but most importantly, I've been doing it really just to test to make sure that when we do these molds, these are probably the 4th and 5th ones that we've done, because we get it tested on the water for a long time, right? This isn't like okay, let's do a paddle tail and then take it to production immediately. So I've been using these for a while, testing them in different environments, both on weighted hooks and jig heads, just to make sure that the tail's the right size, that the overall body's properly formed, so that even when the tail comes off, it still darks nice in the water. I forgot to mention that earlier. So this does work really well as a nub lure, just like our 2.0s, because it has the right dimensions. Originally, it was a little bit too fat, and when it was too fat, it kind of wobbled. It didn't really have a good dart without the paddle. And now, like, this literally has been what I believe is just the ultimate soft plastic paddle tail, because it does everything. And again, the fact that it's really bulky too. So on top of the dimples, it has a lot of bulk. And so this puppy casts a mile, the ultimate for power fishing.
Yep, it is awesome. So then after we've finally approved it here, like Luke said, after going through quite a handful of iterations of these singles, then we give the mold producer the A-OK on the final one to go forward and make the big one. So obviously we're not sitting there hand pouring these and putting them in packs of 7 and mailing them out. We're ordering hundreds of thousands sometimes at a time. Like you guys probably saw, we've been through over a million just of the Slam Shady 2.0s in a pretty short amount of time. And I know this one is going to explode as well. So now we're just waiting on this final one to come. It should be soon. That's the question you're asking. When can I get these? They will be at fishstrong.com. We will open it up to insider members only in the very beginning. And of course, you'll get your 20% off, all you insiders, on all these mulligan lures. And then we'll open up to the public, assuming we haven't sold out of that first round. We'll just continually have more. Then we'll add more colors like we normally do. But we'll start with Slam Shady. Just, we know it works. It's proven to work everywhere. And it's it should be everyone's go-to, at least just to start with. And then there are certain scenarios, especially like our boy Matt up there in the Panhandle and Wyatt in Texas, say, hey, I love the Slam Shady, but occasionally I want to throw, the Fred color, the pink color, or leprechaun or gold digger. And so we'll have some of those iterations as well. But really, really pumped for you guys to see this and to try it yourself, to be able to cast it a mile. Skips really, really well. And like I said, the dimples, it looks just like a little fish. It looks like little scales down there. It is, look at that. Oh, if you guys are listening, you have to just check this out, and we'll put some underwater footage. Obviously, when we release this, we'll have all the stuff to back it up and the science behind it. But we'll at least want to get on a podcast and get y'all excited about this new lure that we got from the idea of golf originally. And like I said, the most exciting part was, to me, seeing those scales when we saw it in the water. I was like, holy smokes, this thing looks awesome.
Yeah.
So now we're going to have a 3, right, in the mulligan, a 3.5, which is a Slam Shady 2.0, the 4 in this, and then all the way up, to the 5 on the bombers. We've got you covered on all the paddle tail sizes.
Yeah, I mean, paddle tails. We've interviewed a lot of guides and even TV show hosts involved with fishing. And just a fun question is always, hey, like, what's your favorite lure? And it's probably like 95% have been paddle, like soft plastic paddle tail, plus or minus, Joe. I'm trying to think of anybody who didn't. I can't think of anybody. I'm sure there was at least 1 or 2. But paddle tails, they just work, and they just flat out work. And just every small advantage, like, we love testing things. We're just looking for small advantage. It's rare these days that there's a giant, huge advantage that hasn't been found. And so again, these little small updates, I truly do believe, has an advantage over the others. And every little advantage we can get just helps make sure that we always have fun fishing stories to share after every trip, and pictures to show. And so, yeah, super excited. It's this kind of stuff. We've been testing a bunch of different lures, many of which don't make it to production because they just don't prove to actually beat what else is out there. We're very adamant about that. And it's like Power Prawns proved it, and they've been amazing. We've had a lot of personal best fish caught on those already. And these, I believe, will have the same impact because they just flat out work. And I truly do believe they have an advantage over the other paddle tails that are out there.
I think this one, just like Slam Shady and Power Prawn, I think Mulligan has the opportunity to have like long-term legs, like, that like our kids could be talking about it, just like certain things that have been around for forever. Certain lures. I really do believe all 3 of those, that 20 years from now, people could still be using this and saying, yeah, this is just a proven lure. Pretty awesome. So we're really because we've been working on this forever. And the tough part for us, because we do this every day, right? And many of you, tune in once a week or whatever it is, maybe once a month. And it's a little bit different. We just assume everyone already knew about it. We're like, holy smokes, we haven't even told anyone about this mulligan that we've been working on forever. And part of it too, we just want to make sure it was perfect. And that we finally gave the seal of approval to say, all right, let's move forward with the big boy, with the one that, how many cavities is 30 or 40 or something crazy?
Yeah, this is the one, the 4-inch has a little over 40, I believe. And then the 3-inch has even more, right?
That means they can make 40 to 50 every like minute and a half. Yeah. It's fascinating. So instead of Luke, is sitting at home in his little microwave, they have a massive 50-gallon drum of, like, let's just say Slam Shady, and they're just pumping that stuff into the absolute perfect amount. And they're doing 50 a minute and a half. And someone takes them off, puts them not on a tennis racket, but on a different type of stringer to hold them and let them get perfect form. And then they just keep doing that over and over and over again, where you can make 10 to 20,000 a day if you have the proper machine. So we will have these sooner than later. It does not take that long once we have it going and in production, and it should be sooner than later. I'm guessing, let's just say October 1st. What do you think? Is that safe? October-ish?
That should be safe. Yeah. I mean, it'll be. We'll just say in October.
In October.
It could be later.
By the time we have them in bags, because then you got to bag them and all that. But they will be made, and we'll have them in hand. So sometime in October, be looking for the mulligan.
Slam Shady mulligan, and it is going to be the need to have lure. So I've been. Like I said, so far it's been 100% on having the person who I was fishing with want to be using it because it was catching fish.
Even if they're not a golfer like us, don't even know what the PGA. That's it, the PGA. I got my green jacket on. Yay, master.
Yeah,
I did go to the Masters once. That was quite the experience.
Sure was.
I was definitely a golfer those couple of days. That was really neat. But I couldn't even remember PGA on the podcast. So, but hey, that's live. We're goofballs. We mess up sometimes, and now it seems very obvious. Professional Golf Association. I was thinking something like USTA, like tennis. You couldn't get it either. What do you use?
It's called the golf people. I'm not. I like to fish. I don't golf much. I golf like once a year, and I'm terrible at it.
Yeah, ditto. But now we don't need to. Now we can golf and have mulligans while we fish. Get this extra cast. So Guys, thank you so much. And if you haven't joined the Insider Club, what the heck are you waiting on? We're over 35,000 members strong. The Smart Fishing Spots has taken the club to a whole new level. Obviously, the main focus is education, right? And I'm talking everything from rigging to finding spots, to knowing when to use certain lures, knowing when to use a certain jig head over a weighted hook, right? To know when to use types of lures or types of line, types of leader, types of knots, knowing when to fish certain types of areas based on the trends, not just because of a spot you caught a fish last time, but the Smart Fishing Spots, the software piece of it, the technology takes it to a whole new level. And then, of course, discounts bringing in a lot of new stuff here at the end of the year. Once we have our tackle store, that opens up a lot of doors. That's all I'm going to say. Once we have a physical brick and mortar tackle store, a lot of manufacturers don't like selling to online only, which is what we've basically been is a club. And now that we have a brick and mortar store, it opens up all kinds of stuff and still enables us to do online if you're not in Central Florida and can't come by the actual store. We're also going to be looking, as I talked about in a prior podcast, looking at having some distribution partners, some like existing tackle stores that are already out there, and maybe even doing some franchises, which I know we've had quite a few people who have written in about and have some interest there. So all part of this big plan to expand, continue to unite friends and family through fishing. And that reminds me, the final piece of the Inside Club is that community. It's the family-like feel. There's nothing else out there like it. It is so tight-knit. People are actually sharing and being really helpful, and there's no negativity. We don't allow cursing. You literally can't. There's no belittling, none of the smack talk. Otherwise, you're just asked to leave. So we keep it super, super clean, super, super fun. And because of that, everyone is helpful. They feel like a family. And that's been a really, really cool part of this club. So you can join us at saltstrong.com. We would love to see you in there today. It's less than a cup of coffee per day. It's not even close, actually. I mean, if someone told me like 20 years ago or even 10 years ago, hey, would you be willing to save a quarter a day to be able to have all the stuff that we have in the club? I'd be like, yeah, I'd save $1 a day. It's basically a quarter a day. It's 27 cents per day. If you think about it, like that's a joke, right? My kids can do that.
Yeah, it's like
save a quarter a day to have to be that much better at something that you love, and to be that much better. It's something that you've already spent money on. Like, meaning, I assume you've already bought some tackle, maybe a kayak, maybe a boat. Me, I kind of want to maximize that stuff. So
yeah, it's $97 a year, and so 97 divided by 52 weeks is $1.86. So that's
still cheaper than a cup of coffee, even on the weekly.
That's like drinking one less beer at dinner once a month, right? And you pay for it. Like,
you drink beer at dinner every night?
No, like once a month. If you drink one less beer one time in a month, you're paying for the entire club, and you get all the discounts. Like, again, it really is amazing how it's been super helpful for me. Just seeing reports in the community from members, I've caught so many more fish just seeing the latest trend, because this is daily. Like, every day there's new reports. I meet some great people. I fished with a member this morning I've become really good friends with. You just meet a lot of cool people that love fishing, and so it's been so much fun. So I recommend just trying it out. And we have the guarantee where you're guaranteed to catch more fish and have more fun and save money on tackle. If you don't, then you can get your money back.
I mean, amen. So I will agree with you there. That's a great deal. Let's talk about the beer thing, though, because I mean, it depends on the type of beer. Like Busch Light, I saw, per like a 12 ouncer was cheaper than even a bottled water at Publix. So that's where you might be wrong. Someone could say, hey, it would be like me saving 2 Busch Lights per month, maybe 2.5. Obviously, if you're drinking IPA or these fancy highlights or these high noons, are like $2.50 a pop. Yeah,
well,
easy.
I'm talking about if you go to a restaurant, right? Go to a restaurant and you get a drink. If you get an alcoholic drink, it's probably gonna be at least $5, right?
Oh, even more now. Yeah, like I said, a single beer at Publix now is $2. Like a good high quality beer. Not to say the Busch Light's not. I would prefer Busch Latte.
Busch Light's great.
Yeah, crazy.
So plus or minus, either way, it's worth the shot. So super pumped. Long story short, we're really, really excited to have these lures out. This has been a long journey to get to where we are, and we're right on the final yard line, and gonna have these puppies out soon.
Yep. As Kevin Nealon says, it is a SNL Chippendale skit. It's been a long, arduous process. But, we're going to go with, what was his name?
Barney.
Yeah. We're going to go with Barney.
Barney or something.
We love to pick you both, but we can't. We're Chippendales. Hi, guys. We appreciate you. Love you. Thank you so much for all the support. Stay tuned at fishstrong.com. Like I said, members only are going to get access to this first, the mulligan. They'll be the ones catching more fish, not just because they have the best lure, but they'll know exactly where to go fishing. And then all the rest of you guys, I don't know why you're not a member. Join today. Get on the bandwagon. You will start saving tons of money. Start catching more fish. You'll start having more fun. You'll start making some new friends as well in the community. And that's where Luke and I and the coaches are hanging out now as well. So join us there at saltstrong.com. You'll see a little button to join the club. Otherwise, guys, we will talk to you on the next episode. Peace. We out.
'Cause fishing, it's in my soul. It was